Now they're not pretty, but give them a coat of paint and they're going to work just fine. Just to give you an idea how they're going to go together, take a look at this. Okay, so I've been looking online for brackets which will attach a splitter to a car, and I didn't really like what I found, most of the time purely because they're too expensive. I've seen simple metal angle brackets, 90-degree brackets, which are going for $150 to $200, which seems absurd to me for what is actually not a big piece of metal or a very complicated design. So you know what, I figured out I'm going to make my own. So I've come up with this design right here. It's essentially 16 gauge steel. I paid $15 for it, and I'm going to make two simple brackets out of this sheet of metal. Now this will be the bracket that attaches the splitter to an upright, which will be another bracket which attaches to the chassis. You'll see that in a little bit. So essentially this bit will be drilled out, these holes will be drilled out, and these will be bolted onto the splitter. It will be bent along this line, 90-degree bend. So then this will be perpendicular to the ground, or straight up and down, and then these channels will be cut out, and then the corresponding bracket that's mounted to the chassis will have similar channels, and will allow it to slide up and down to adjust the height. Now I'm probably going to use a couple of bolts and washers to lock it in place, 2, maybe 3 or 4, we'll see how it goes. But right now the main challenge that we have to do is to cut it out. Again, it's thick steel gauge, well, thick-ish 16 gauge. I don't have a metal bending brake, so we're going to have to get creative in how to bend it. I'm thinking we're just going to get heat, and we're just going to hit it with a hammer. Heat it up and you hit it with a hammer. It's also going to be a little tricky. I'm going to try using metal cutting shears. I don't think that's going to work. If it doesn't work, we're just going to have to get a little more aggressive. But let's just see how it goes. Well, that worked a lot better than I thought. I guess we won't have to get the grinder out. Okay, so we've just gone to a bit of a sticking point here. The metal cutter shearer is not, can't make this bend that I cut out, so I'm going to have to use probably a grinder to get through this part. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, it's looking pretty good so far. We're going to channel these out, and to do that, first of all, I'm going to drill a couple of pilot holes in these here, and then I'll use the Dremel to clean them up. Alright. Okay, so we've made the basic bracket. We've gotten to this point here where it's pretty much drilled, lines were made. And I've made a line here where I want to bend, make a 90-degree bend. This is going to be tricky. You probably saw how much effort it took just to cut this stuff. So what I plan to do is use heat. We're going to heat it up, and then we're going to hit it with a hammer. We're going to hit it with this guy here, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't, well, alright, let's heat this up and see what happens. Okay, so after using just basic hand tools and such as, you know, a terrible little vice like that, hammer, pliers, Dremel, grinders, but nothing crazy, no machine shop quality stuff, you end up with things that look like this. Now they're not pretty, but give them a coat of paint and they're going to work just fine. Just to give you an idea how they're going to go together, take a look at this. Okay, so I've just assembled them. They go together like this. So as you can see, one will go to, as you can see, the bottom obviously connects to the splitter, the top connects to a point on the chassis, and you have a sliding middle section which allows you to adjust the heights. Now this is one side, obviously there's going to be two sides, and there's going to be a little other bits of bracing here and there, but essentially this is going to be the main structural point that holds the splitter in place. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.